briefing us on the contents of the pulse. And key to his briefings will be on latest in relation to the Public Service Commission bill, non-payment of suppliers, amongst other things. Without any further ado, Commissioner, can you please brief us on the contents of the pulse? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Humphrey, and good morning to everyone, those in the house, as well as those that are joining us online. As indicated, it is that time once more where we have to convene this press briefing to communicate, one, the work of the Public Service Commission for the quarter that started on the 1st of July and ended on the 30th of September 2025. So all of you are welcome to this briefing, and this press briefing takes place shortly, of course, after the recent plenary that we have, which is our quarterly meeting that we gather. We gathered from the 29th to the 31st of October this year, where we took stock of the work of the Commission and took and made decisions moving forward in terms of how we approach that. The meeting of plenary took place a month after the allegations surfaced in the media that I think everyone might have read about, the alleged irregular appointment of a private secretary to the Minister of Social Development, which was also followed by her alleged appointment as Chief of Staff in the same ministry without meeting the appointment requirements. So as the Public Service Commission, upon receiving or seeing those allegations, we invoked our constitutional mandate and embarked on own accord investigation, which means it was an investigation that was initiated by ourselves as the Commission upon picking up those allegations, and because we needed to determine the truth behind the allegations, as well as to advise the department accordingly. The investigation was initiated in line with our mandate as the Public Service Commission, which is articulated in Section 196(4)(f), Roman figure 4 of the Constitution, which mandates the Commission to, amongst other things, advise national and provincial organs of state regarding personnel practices in the public service. So today's briefing focuses mainly on matters in the public service in the following areas. One, we reflected on a webinar that we held that was titled "Building Trust Through Quality Public Service, a Critical Imperative." Then we also held an inaugural Professor Sangweni Memorial Lecture. We reflected on the latest updates in relation to the Public Service Commission Bill, strengthening government or governance through collaboration. That's now lessons that we learned from China's modernization journey. And then our normal items that we release on a quarterly basis, the non-payment of suppliers, as well as the overall number of complaints and grievances handled by the Commission. In terms of the webinar that we held on the 17th of September 2025, that critical webinar shed light on crucial topic, efficient and effective public service built on constitutional values and principles. This issue is at the heart of every citizen in the country, emphasizing the importance of delivering high-quality services in order to meet the needs of our communities. The webinar was opened by the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, Professor Somato Dafikeni, who delivered a thought-provoking remarks on the significance of building an ethical and developmental state through skilled and ethical public servants. The Deputy Chairperson of the Commission also made remarks as she outlined the purpose of the webinar. While the webinar was directed, or the program was directed perfectly by Commissioner Yasmin Bakas, our resident commissioner in KwaZulu-Natal. So this webinar showcased thought-provoking presentations from renowned speakers. Amongst those speakers, we had Professor Bonang Mohale, who spoke about the highlight or the high standards of professional ethics as a catalyst for ethical and professional public service. We also had Professor Itumeleng Nakedi, who highlighted the importance of getting public servants to be more intentional in improving service delivery. So we found that webinar to be very critical and in the work of the Public Service Commission. A representative from the Accountability Lab spoke on a topic integrating the government's commitments to ensure a better life for all. Now, the full article on that webinar is contained in the Pulse Bulletin on page 2. The Public Service Commission, in partnership with the University of South Africa, UNISA, as well as the National School of Government, hosted an inaugural Professor Stan Sangweni Memorial Lecture under the theme Professional and Ethical Public Sector, a Catalyst for Developmental State. That lecture was held in Pretoria on the 13th of September 2025. Professor Stan Sangweni was the first chairperson of the Public Service Commission in the dawn of democracy, that is now post-1994, when the commission was reconstituted to fit our democratic dispensation. The inaugural lecture paid homage to the enduring legacy of the late Professor Sangweni. It was also presided over by former Minister of Public Service and Administration, Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Moleketi. She co-hosted the function with our own commissioner, the resident commissioner of Gauteng, Commissioner Vusupunzima Vuso, and both of them happened to have worked with Professor Sangweni when the commission was re-established. Professor Stan Sangweni played a pivotal role in embedding constitutional values within the framework of the public administration. His visionary leadership championed the establishment of professional, ethical, and development-oriented public service as an essential component of a capable state. He dedicated his career to the advancement of ethical leadership, promotion of integrity in governance, and professionalization of the public service. Former President Thabo Mbeki delivered a keynote address in that August occasion and reflected on the ethical foundations and moral compass essential for a responsive and accountable government. The President acknowledged groundbreaking inputs and outputs that the Public Service Commission produced under the stewardship of Professor Stan Sangweni. Notably amongst those was the development of a code of conduct for the public service and an accompanying explanatory manual on practical guide to ethical dilemmas in the workplace. The Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Mr. Velengosini Tlabisa, also paid homage to Professor Sangweni. He called for professionalization of the public service and renewed social compact with citizenry. Professor Stan Sangweni Memorial Lecture will be commemorated on an annual basis. So that was the beginning of a long road to travel. We also reflected on the Public Service Commission Bill and the processes that have been followed. The Commission has noted significant progress in relation to the Public Service Commission Bill following its adoption by the National Assembly in March 2025. Currently, the bill is before the National Council of Provinces and has been presented to the relevant portfolio committee in the 9 provinces. The PSC is pleased that to date, Gauteng, Western Cape, Northwest, and the Eastern Cape have completed public hearings on the bill, whilst the Free State completed theirs last week Friday. So the rest of the provinces, we are still waiting on them to conclude the process, and we hope that the public hearings will be finalized before the end of the current month of November. The Public Service Commission Bill seeks to achieve the following main objectives: to provide for the establishment of a secretariat of a commission to support the work of the commission and to enable the commission to operate as an independent and impartial constitutional body with its own secretariat; to reinforce and enhance the implementation of the PSC's mandate across the entire public administration, since the legislation will be applicable to local government as well and public entities, in line with Section 1962 of the Constitution, and also to improve the efficiency and impact of the Public Service Commission by legally obligating the executive authorities to act on the recommendations and or directives issued by issued subsequent to the investigations or inquiries held by the Public Service Commission. In addition to the above-mentioned objectives, the Public Service Commission Bill also aims to regulate the procedure for appointment of commissioners of the Public Service Commission in accordance with the provisions of Section 196 of the Constitution. The bill will ensure that commissioners that are appointed are competent, fit for purpose, and have the highest level of integrity. In May 2025, the Public Service Commission participated in a seminar on exchange of experiences on modernization or on modernizing national governance and professionalization of the state between China and South Africa. The PSC's participation followed an invitation from the National School of Government in partnership with the Chinese Ministry of Finance and Commerce, hosted by the Academy for International Business Officials, an educational and training institution under the Ministry of Commerce of the People's Republic of China. The seminar created a platform for sharing governance knowledge, strengthening capacity for modern public administration, and deepening bilateral cooperation. Backed by China's top think tanks, research institutes, and universities, AIPO facilitates high-level exchanges that combine academic expertise, practical government or governance insights, and field visits to relevant institutions. Key thematic areas that were dealt with in that bilateral were China's governance philosophy and leadership approaches, digital transformation of the state and society, rural revitalization and poverty eradication strategies, combating corruption and enhancing governance ethics, strengthening state-owned enterprise and governance, and personnel management systems in the public sector. As part of sharing knowledge gained from this exchange program, the Public Service Commission will publish a series of 3 reflective articles in the Pulse Bulletin, capturing insights from experiences as they relate to the organization's core mandate of promoting good governance, accountability, and improved service delivery. The full article on this one is also found on page 4 of the Pulse Bulletin. On the non-payment of suppliers, Section 38, 1F of the Public Finance Management Act, read together with Treasury Regulation 8.2.3, requires government departments to settle all contractual obligations and pay all monies owed, including intergovernmental claims, within the period or prescribed period of 30 days from receipt of an invoice. In the case of civil claims, the date of settlement or court judgment. The National Development Plan envisages to reduce unemployment through creating significant number of jobs by 2030. Small, medium, and micro enterprises have emerged as critical role players in job creation. However, entrepreneurial participation rates remain low, and in this regard, small businesses are not realizing their potential contribution to growth and employment. Key to, amongst others, non-payment of invoices is a contributing factors to the lack of sustainability in the small business sector environment. This has compromised the cash flow positions. SMME suppliers are forced to borrow money to meet contractual obligation. Retrenchments and forced disclosures due to constrained cash flow positions and overall non-payment of invoices is counterproductive towards government's vision of economic development, job creation, and poverty alleviation. According to National Treasury's annual report on late payment of supplier invoices for 2024-2025 financial year, the number of invoices paid later than 30 days by national departments was 143,245 invoices, with a rand value of 6.4 billion as at end of financial year. This indicates a regression of 32% or 34,328 invoices when compared to the number of invoices paid after 30 days by national departments in the 2023-24 financial year. Furthermore, the National Treasury report indicates that the number of invoices older than 30 days and not paid by national departments at the end of March 2025 amounted to 2,437 invoices with a rand value of 381 million. And the unfortunate thing about this non-payment of invoices, colleagues, is that the people who suffer the most are your small and medium enterprises who have to go and borrow money in order to deliver the services. We've been overemphasizing this thing over and over again, and there is no consequence management in departments in relation to ensuring that those people who fail to process invoices get punished. The full article on this issue will be found on page 7 of the Pulse. In terms of the overall number of grievances that are handled by the Public Service Commission, as at 30 September 2025, the Public Service Commission registered 300 grievances, including 112 grievances that were carried over from the previous financial year. Of the 300 grievances, 151, which is 50%, have been concluded, and 149, which is another 50%, remained pending as at the end of September 2025. But there is commitment to get them concluded as soon as possible. Of the 151 concluded cases, 13, which is 9%, were substantiated, and 37%, or 37, which amounts for 25%, were unsubstantiated. 4%, or four grievances, which account for 3% of the grievances, were partially substantiated. 17 grievances, accounting for 11%, were internally resolved within departments following the PSC's intervention, and the remaining 80 grievances, which accounted for 53% of the grievances, were closed for various reasons, including those that were also pending before different sectoral bargaining councils and other commission, or either the Commission for Conciliation, Mediation and Arbitration, which is the CCMA, or the courts. Others were withdrawn by the aggrieved employees, whereas others were closed after being resolved by departments. And we want to emphasize as the Public Service Commission the fact that we cannot duplicate the use of resources, because we all use public resources. If people want to take their cases to the bargaining council, let them go to the bargaining council and not come to the commission. And if they want to use the commission, let them use the commission and not use the bargaining councils or use CCMA or any other platform, including the courts, because that would be an unnecessary duplication of cases. We want to appeal to the members of the public with regards to that. The majority of the 300 referred grievances related to unfair treatment, refusal to approve application, performance assessment and salary problems, poor compliance by departments with the timeframes prescribed in Resolution 14 of 2002 for grievance and employees on salaries level 2 to 12, and Chapter 10 of the SMS Handbook continues to be a concern for the Public Service Commission. Through other means, the Commission continues to engage departments to address this challenge, to make sure that those grievances are handled and they are dealt with properly at departmental level without them being taken out. With regards to the complaints, the Public Service Commission has a mandate to investigate either on own accord or on receipt of any complaint, personnel and public administration practices, to report to the relevant executive authority and the legislature. Personnel practices relate to, for example, irregular appointments, transfers, qualifications, and compensation-related allegations. And public administration practices refer to, for example, procurement irregularities, poor service delivery, etc. The owner court investigations undertaken are identified through an analysis of the trends of compliance handled or complaints handled previously through media reports. The PSC encourages safe reporting culture through the use of the following mechanisms. People can report telephonically to the National Anti-Corruption Hotline call center, and the number is public. You can find it in the website of the Public Service Commission. You can find it in any website of any department, and it's 0800 701 701. Or people can walk in at any of the national or provincial offices of the Public Service Commission. The physical addresses are also contained. You will also find them at the end of the pulse. They are also contained in the Public Service Commission website. Since inception of the National Anti-Corruption Hotline on the 1st of September 2024, a total of 981,917 calls were recorded on the case management system. of the NAG as at 30 September 2025. These include dropped calls, those which were made for purposes of inquiries and seeking advice, a cumulative figure of 32,878 cases. They were generated and referred to the departments, public bodies for investigation. The Public Service Commission recorded a total of 594 complaints during the first quarter of 2025-26 financial year. The total number of cases reported against the national departments are 181. For provinces is 54, and for public bodies is 359. The article is there on the Pulse on page 11. The Public Service Commission, as dedicated and committed as it is to service delivery, has also good stories to tell in terms of the work that we have done to assist the members of the public. In the Western Cape, the Public Service Commission witnessed the reopening of 3 out of 10 holding cells at Kensington South African Police Services in the Western Cape on the 15th of August 2025. All of the holding cells were closed since 2019 after an inspection by a member of South African Human Rights Commission due to the alleged unfit conditions. A subsequent inspection was arranged with the representatives of the South African Human Rights Commission, where it was agreed that the cells were fit for use and could be reopened after the intervention that was made. All 10 cells will, however, be undergoing a full refurbishment. But as a temporary measure, 3 cells were approved for use whilst the refurbishment is completed. The Public Service Commission also intervened and assisted 3 members of the community with applications for identity documents as well as payouts of pension monies by the Government Employees Pension Fund. Those articles, the details, you find them on page 18 of the Pulse Bulletin. So basically that is the work that the Commission has been doing. And as I conclude, I want to thank all of you for having availed yourself and for having borne with me and the delays that were beyond my control. I thank all of you for your patience. And just to remind the members of the public again, the number of the National Anti-Corruption Hotline, 0800 701 701. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for that comprehensive report. And now we'll take questions if there are any. Maybe let's start on our virtual platform. Do you have anything, Vanessa? Nothing from the virtual platform. Here in-house, nothing. Commissioner, no questions? I suppose the briefing was straightforward. And we've come to the end of the media briefing. Thank you very much. No, today was not your day. Today was not your day.
I had a terrible day.